Hi all, this is Emma from Plan, Inspire, Create, and today I'm going to talk to you all about the pitfalls of setting annual goals and why setting quarterly goals might be more beneficial. So you might have seen me talk a lot about setting 90-day goals recently. If you haven't, then I'm going to break it down for you today anyway. And I wanted to break it down and really talk about the reasons for that in this video. It's that time of year where people are setting New Year's resolutions, they're thinking about how this year was, and they're setting goals for 2022, and they're really starting to think about what they want to achieve out of the next year. And that might be you, and that is me as well. I am thinking all about what I want to get out of next year. What's happened this year, I'm reflecting on it, I'm thinking about what I want to be different. But annual goal setting comes with a lot of pitfalls, and I want to talk those through with you today. The main problem with annual goals is the length of time. So 365 days is a huge chunk of time. It might feel like the years are flying by. It does for me. However, in terms of goal setting and kind of working towards things, 365 days is just a huge chunk of time. And that comes with a number of problems. So the first one is that it's easy to lose focus within that. So it's such a big expanse of time that it's difficult to know where to prioritise, what to do first. And there's a big problem that I want to know if it sounds familiar. So picture the scene. You start the new year with all the best intentions. You've got a list of things you really want to achieve this year and you feel really motivated. So throughout January, you really start to make some of those changes. We haven't got any money because we spent it all at Christmas. So you focus on those changes that you want to make in your life. Then as the time moves on, motivation starts to dwindle a bit and things get a little bit lost. And then you remember those annual goals and you think, it's fine. The end of 2022 is so long away that I've got loads of time to complete those things. There's no sense of urgency. So before you know it, the months have passed you by and we're getting into the last quarter of 2022 and you're realising that you're going to be approaching another end of the year within a matter of weeks. Maybe it's got down to single digits. People are telling you how close it is to Christmas and you think, what have I achieved this year? Oh God, I said I'd achieve this, I said I'd achieve that. And they completely drifted out of your focus because it just wasn't that sense of urgency for them. And then there's not really enough time to scramble and do it before the end of the year. So you think it's all right, I'll start afresh next year. Have you been that person? Because I know I have. And the problem with that is you repeat the same pattern and the years go on and on and on and you realise that you haven't managed to sustain any of the changes in your life that you wanted to. And that's sad because we all want to work towards that vision in our life that we're hoping for. And if there's a different way to help you get there, then I think we need to focus on that. If you do the same thing you've always done, you'll get the same things you always have. And so sometimes I think it's about just changing the method completely, which is what I have been doing and I've found success with. So some of the other pitfalls are obviously you lose your momentum, you lose your focus, there's no sense of urgency. It doesn't really help you prioritise. There's no kind of structure in terms of when you're going to get these things done, what you're going to do first, how you're going to implement these things. And there's massive uncertainty. So with it being such a long period of time, the problem there is you are planning for things that you can't really predict. It's very hard to predict how life will look more than sort of 3, maybe 6 months ahead. There's always unexpected things that crop up that we aren't expecting, and you're planning for a different reality than the one you're going to be living in. So you're setting goals that might not align with what you want to be doing when you get there or what you need to be doing when you get there. And so it's not really an efficient use of your time. And the check-ins are too infrequent. So you aren't really reviewing whether you've got there a lot of the time until the end of the year. And then you might realise those goals aren't even relevant anymore, or that they were relevant but they just slipped away from you. So we don't want that. Another problem is that they are often set independently away from kind of your other planning. So what I mean by this is when people set annual goals or New Year's resolutions, it often doesn't take into account what other responsibilities they have, how they spend their time, whether they're going to be able to implement these things alongside the things that they already have to do and want to do, and also whether they tie in with the overall vision for your life. So it's easy to be swept up in other people's. So other people will say they want to run a marathon this year, and you think, that's a great idea, I'd love to run a marathon. That was never in your plan, and maybe you could be focusing on things that were really your dream. It's easy to get swept up with the ones that are kind of typical every year. I'm going to cut down on this, I'm going to do more of that, and it's not really tying in with your overall vision of where you want your life to be, because that's where you want to be focusing your efforts on moving forward in those areas. That's more of a priority. And then what I think is the biggest pet peeve of annual goals, but it can also span to goal setting of other time lengths, is it often doesn't break down how you're actually gonna achieve these goals. So you have them and that's all lovely, but how are you actually gonna achieve them? What do you need to do? What do you need to implement in your daily life? When are you gonna do it? How are you gonna do it? What do you need to be able to do it? All those things which sound a little bit scary, a little bit overwhelming, a little bit time consuming, and sometimes a little bit boring. You might not want to sit down and do that. They are actually the things you need to do to make sure that your goals are achieved. So something that I have been working really hard on is my new 90-day goals planner, and 90 days is the perfect, in my opinion, time period to be setting goals. It's long enough to actually implement change and implement new habits, but it's not too long that you're going to lose momentum and motivation and things drift out of focus. There's also monthly check-ins so you can see where you are and kind of guide yourself back to where you need to be to make sure you hit your goals at the end. And the planner really helps you break things down level by level until you've got the week by week actions and habits you need to implement to make sure that your goals become a reality. So I recently did a live flip through of the planner, which I'm going to link below, and I completed the first couple of exercises, which is all around setting your bigger vision, and that's what your goals tie into. There's no point setting goals if you don't know overall what you're hoping to achieve. What kind of life do you want to live? How do you want it to look? How do you want it to feel? So I did a whole flip through and I did a few of the exercises, and in this video now I want to do a few more with you to really think about what's important to me in my life, and I hope it sparks some thoughts for you. So let's have a look at the planner. So I've set myself a nice little cozy working space to sit and spend some time for me and fill in the Just 90 planner. I've got a nice little candle crackling away. I've got a nice warm cup of frothy coffee and just quiet space to sit and think about me and my vision and my goals and where I want to get to. So I really wanted to, even though some people think it doesn't make that much difference, I really wanted to set a nice little cozy atmosphere for this to be some nice time for me, because that's really what this is all about, focusing on you and what you want to achieve. So I did a live video at the beginning of November where I actually flipped through the whole planner, so I will include a link to that, and in that I actually talked through completing the first few exercises in here. So the first one was making some initial notes on my thoughts of what I wanted to get out of using this planner and kind of where things are at the moment. Then the second exercise was writing about where life is today and kind of putting that marker in the sand of where I'm going to be starting from. And then the third exercise was the life satisfaction check-in. So in 8 different areas of life, which are physical, emotional, home and family, social and community, professional, spirituality and values, financial and passion, I rated them from 1 to 10, with 10 being the best it could possibly be, and I made some notes on why I felt it deserved that score. So really where I feel I am in each of these different areas. Other people might have different opinions on it, but this is kind of where I feel I am in my life. And then I reflected on what I'd written and which areas of my life I might want to prioritise, and I just put a little star sticker next to them so that I could remember, and I highlighted home and family, professional and financial, and those two kind of tie in together. So what I wanted to do today was move on to some of the other exercises in the vision section, looking at where I am currently. So this section is all about starting to think differently. So it says, you've started to think about how you might want life to be different now, which is great, and you might be tempted to rush to thinking about how you would achieve this change. But you first need to face the reality that you don't always know how to achieve your goals. If you did, you'd likely already be there or have made significant progress in that direction. If you rush to the how, you might face obstacles and quickly decide the task is impossible. So what this section is all about is really taking the time to shift your thinking and deepen the emotional connection to the end results so that you're more likely to be invested in that end point that you're trying to reach and that you'll craft a vision that you're truly connected to. So the first exercise in this section is what's important to you in your life. And so I'm going to take some time just to fill out these questions, and then I will come back and show you what I've done. So I'm going to go through what I wrote in each of these exercises. So the first one is what's important, and the first question is what does being happy mean to you? And I wrote, living a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling, feeling calm and supported, enjoying the little things, making memories and spending quality time with the people I care about. What does being successful mean to you? Now, I kept adding caveats to this, so I wrote all of the above, because if I don't have these things, then ultimately I don't feel successful. But then I wanted to add achieving financial independence through my business. I then thought that it's important for me not just to feel successful when I get there, so I said achieving financial independence through my business or be on the way there, because if I'm on the way to my end point, then I am being successful. So I need to remember that, but not at the expense of my health. So I can't put everything into this and then just completely burn out. That isn't success. I've been through that pattern and I don't want to do it again. I think too many people think that success has to be work, 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 and ultimately then you don't want to end up like I did, in a crumpled heap, not able to work at all or really get any enjoyment out of life, if we're being honest. So it's important to me that success includes a level of balance, and that at the core of it is feeling happy. If I'm not happy, if this takes away my health and happiness, then I'm not being successful. So I would like to achieve financial independence through my business, but it can't be at the expense of my health and it can't be at the expense of my happiness. Otherwise, success hasn't been achieved. If I achieve some of these other things in being happy, then that is also success to me on its own. It doesn't need to also include this element about financial independence. That's kind of a separate detail in my success metric, let's call it. These things to me make me feel successful, that I have managed to achieve happiness, because that's harder than you think. So what do you want in your life that's not currently there? I put more joy, more time for me, more genuine connections with people with similar interests, more new experiences, and increasing skills in creative areas such as illustration. So apart from that last one, now that I'm reading it back, it's actually a lot of these things under happiness. I'm saying I'm craving more of those in my life, and that I haven't got as much time for that as I think, which is really interesting. I honestly think the process of reading it back helps me reflect on what I've written and kind of draw comparisons between the different sections. So if you use this planner, talk it out loud, either to yourself or to someone you trust. If you're one of my patrons, you could even do it on our monthly Zoom call if you wanted to talk something through, or perhaps over on the Discord. People have been chatting about how you're using the planner. It's been a really nice, supportive community over there in terms of people using the Just 90 planner and supporting each other along the way. But definitely try and find some time to reflect on what you've written, because it really helps kind of draw out more from the exercises than what you've initially written. So that's really interesting for me. Then the next section is how you spend your time. So the first question says, list your current commitments and how you spend your time. So I've put work first and foremost. And that for me consists of doing things for YouTube, creating my Patreon content, and obviously interacting with my patrons. Social media, whether that be producing things for social media, consuming social media, seeing what other people are doing, seeing how people are using my products, and all the things that come along with that. That's a big one. One potentially I need to find a way to cut down on. Producing new products, sales, so producing products, packing orders, things like that, and connecting with other businesses. Then I've got caring for my dog Maggie, the Autosphere blog and podcast, which is about autism that I run with a friend, social and downtime, health related time and activities, so doing my physiotherapy, going to appointments, having my counselling, resting, things like that, and then chores and errands. So those are the kind of categories I put things into. Then, do all of these make you happy and or have a clear purpose? So I said they all have a clear purpose, but they don't always make me happy. I think they could if there was more balance. Rest is often enforced rest because I'm unwell. So whether that be physically or mentally or both, I'm kind of forced to come to a stop rather than it being planned. I need to find a way to structure things where this happens less. Saying that, I'd like to do more with the Autosphere, and there are more things I would like to add in. So yeah, there's a bit of a conflict there. I'm wanting more balance, I'm wanting more downtime, but I'm also wanting to fit more things into my schedule. So you can see how there's a tension there, there's a problem there that I'm going to have to resolve. And this is the good thing about this process, I think, is if I'd have gone with my old system of just adding annual goals into my planner, it would have been just, I want to add this, I want to add this, I want to add this. And it didn't take into account the fact that I already feel overworked. And so how realistically is that going to fit in the context of my life, which is where I feel this planner comes in, really. So do I need or want to add anything? I've said that I'll have increased chores when I move out, because I've been living temporarily with my mum, and at some point I am due to move into my own home. Who knows when that will be. I want to restart ukulele, which I was doing before COVID. I want to devote more time to the Autosphere, and I want more downtime. And then, do I need or want to remove anything? I put yes please and a little kind of cheeky smiley face sticker. And then I said work needs to be streamlined or reduced in some way to make time for other things. So I don't yet know exactly what the answer is, but I know that's where I'm spending the bulk of my time, and that something has got to give there to provide space for other areas. And there's more things I want to do with my business. So yeah, I need to find a way to make that a reality whilst not having it be at the expense of all other areas of my life. So then the final exercise I've done here is use your imagination. Imagine your life years into the future, what will have mattered? And I wrote time with people I care about, happy memories, pride in what I have put out into the world, that I tried my best and that I reached for my dreams, which I really like. Actually. What won't have mattered? Trivial upsets, time spent scrolling online, because that's definitely a big time killer. Figures, such as the number of followers, etc. in my kind of business, in my social media and so on, as long as I can pay the bills. So as long as I can pay the bills, sometimes I think a lot of pressure is put on numbers, and like up here when I said what will have mattered, I said pride in what I put out into the world. So yeah, that needs to be remembered. And then what won't have mattered if I didn't always make it. So, I want to feel that I tried my best, and I want to feel that I reached for my dreams. Am I going to get there every time? No, because that's just not how life works. I've already experienced that a number of times, but if I feel I tried and that I made the best decisions for me in those moments, then that's what will have mattered. And then what will people think of you? And I said, I'm kind and caring. That's really important to me, that people feel, that I care for them. I'm fun to be around. I try to support others, and that I did things my own way. So that tells me a lot about what's important to me and kind of where I should be focusing my energy, really. So I really enjoyed completing those few exercises. Now the next one I'm going to keep just for me, and that's what's holding you back. So it says we all go through life with self-doubts, with things we believe about ourselves that if we don't keep in check can hold us back, and these are known as limiting beliefs. For example, I used to believe that because I was an introvert, I wouldn't be able to show my face in my YouTube videos. I was convinced I would appear shy and awkward. So for quite a while, I didn't even try it. Now it feels really strange to me not to show my face in a video. But what if I'd never tried it? Would I have grown my YouTube channel? Would I have enjoyed the process as much? And if I'd not put it off, if I'd done it earlier, how much further along in developing my skills would I actually be? So in this exercise, it's all about trying to uncover some of those limited beliefs that have prevented you making progress or trying things you want to try. So I'm going to think about the negative messages I tell myself on a regular basis, and I'm going to think about them in the 8 different areas of my life. And I'm going to write down as many as I can think of over the page. And it often helps to think of these in the following format. So I can't or I wouldn't be able to, whatever it is, because I am or I have, whatever it is. So this exercise I'm actually going to complete over on my Patreon this month. My patrons get an exclusive video every single month, and this month I am going to share with them my limiting beliefs. And then once I have done that exercise, I am going to really dive deep into where they've come from, and I'm going to reframe them and come up with a set of positive motivational statements that I can use to kind of challenge those limiting beliefs. So if you want to access that video, I am going to leave the link in the description below for my Patreon, which is the Cozy Cafe. There are different tiers you can pledge to, and you get lots and lots of different fun rewards, as well as access to the Discord community where we chat, we get to know each other, we see how we're doing throughout the days and the weeks, and we try and spur each other along. So go and check it out if you're interested. It's a monthly subscription, but you can cancel at any time. So if you just want to sign up for the 1 month, you can do that, and then you can cancel it before the next month. It's totally up to you, or you can upgrade or downgrade if you want to change to higher or lower. So that's going to be it for today's video. Join me in the next one, which will be on Tuesday, where I will actually be crafting my vision in the 8 different areas of my life. So I'll see you then. Bye.